Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to this week's Impact Wrestling Press Pass podcast. This is Ross Foreman. And before we welcome Josh Matthews in, Josh, I have a special surprise for you yet again. Let's see. Josh, are you there?
Yeah. Well, what's your big? I have a surprise for you too. What's your surprise?
All right. Well, hold on. Let me go first.
Okay.
Alrighty. I have a special guest for you on the line.
Hey, Josh. It's Impact Wrestling's most junior official, Kid Ref Crystal Vin. How's it going, man?
Ross, what are you doing?
I knew you wanted to talk to the referee, so I brought him on the phone for us this week.
Yeah, Uncle Ross told me that you're a big fan. I just wanted to say thank you so much for your support over the last few months. Actually, you know what? Yesterday was my 1-year anniversary at Impact. I just want to say I'm so excited to be there. Thank you so much for having me, Josh. I really do credit so much my fandom to you.
Hey, listen. Hey, whoa. Funny guy. You know that we're going to see each other in just a couple days, right?
Yeah, I know. And that's what I want to ask you.
Hey,
what's your shirt size?
Nope. Ross, what are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
Ross, this is backfired completely, horribly. We got a show to talk about. We've got a main event to talk about. What is going on here?
Well, you want to say goodbye to the referee?
Nope. Hit the end button on the call there.
Alrighty.
What's your shirt size?
Well, Kid Ref, we will see you in Las Vegas, and we will bring in Josh Matthews strictly by himself right now. Josh, the floor is all yours.
I got to get my blood pressure down after what you just did, Ross. You and I will talk about that after this is over.
Can't wait.
So as we try to move on from that, hello, everyone. Certainly excited to be here with all of you guys on this lovely Wednesday, the day before Impact. Tomorrow, I just got done. Literally, I've been talking for 6, I think, straight hours. Just got done calling the DCW 25th anniversary show that'll air on GWN on November 16th, I believe, is when that premieres at 8 p.m. Great show, top to bottom. Literally just stepped out of my studio calling that. It was a lot of fun. It was some great memories. Just a great show, and then quickly transitioned into doing some hang time episodes for you guys. So it's been a long day already, but we're pushing on and looking forward to tomorrow. We've got some great stuff happening tomorrow. Brian Cage is going to Ohio. The Machine Brian Cage goes to Ohio to face Sami Callihan. The real Brian Cage is going to Ohio. And then Eddie Edwards and Moose, they've renewed their rivalry one-on-one tomorrow at Final Hour as the clock ticks towards Final Hour tomorrow. Eddie and Moose. It's going to be a great match. Eli Drake has asked for some time on Impact with Joseph Park as their lawsuit kicks up. So we'll see what Eli has to say. Jordan Grace, the newest knockout on the roster, she'll make her debut tomorrow night, which is pretty cool to add to the knockouts roster. That roster continues to grow and continues to flourish in the conclusion of 2018 into 19. What else do we have tomorrow? Of course, our main event, which I'll get to in a second. The Lucha Brothers will take on the OGs. Pentagon Jr. and Phoenix take on Hernandez and Homicide in a tag team match that I'm certainly looking forward to seeing as the tag team division continues to deepen in wrestling and Impact Wrestling too. It's going to be an exciting time for sure. So that's Final Hour tomorrow. It all gets started at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Wraps up at midnight. Who will be the world champion when the clock strikes midnight? Looking forward to finding out. Before we get to our guest this week, and what I'm sure is going to be a riveting debate. We also have VIP packages and tickets are still available for Las Vegas. Impact in Vegas, we get started Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Looking forward to those 3 days of tapings at Sam's Town Casino. You can go to samstownlv.com for all the ticketing information. If you want to join us in Vegas, you can go to impactwrestling.com for the VIP packages. And remember, if you're in Vegas, take a picture of those billboards. There's 10 of them throughout the city of Las Vegas. And if you take a picture of the billboard, the Impact Wrestling billboards, you're entered to win 2 tickets to each night of taping, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So that's pretty cool. Homecoming is our next pay-per-view on January 6th in Nashville, and it'll be the 6th and the 7th. We're already looking at our VIP packages for that, and VIP packages and what we can do over those 2 days in the new year. We announced yesterday that we'll be a part of Culture Clash in April, which will be Culture Clash will be another convention type thing. Well, there'll be many different companies competing over the 3 or 4 nights in April, big wrestling weekend, and we'll be a part of Culture Clash. Our show will be Thursday at 8 p.m., and tickets should be available very, very soon for Culture Clash over the big weekend in April, the biggest wrestling weekend of the year. So going backwards, that's April. We've got some one-night onlys and Twitch specials in January, February, March. And then November 30th and December 1st will be in Cali for Gold Rush, which will be November 30th at 11 p.m. Eastern, so 8 p.m. West Coast time. And then December 1st, we tape another one night only. So a lot going on. I hope that anyone that's documenting this, you either wrote quickly or you could obviously go to ImpactWrestling.com and get all the details on everything that we're doing. And then, of course, the main event tomorrow night, TikTok goes the clock towards Johnny Impact versus Killer Kross in what should be a thriller. And many people are speculating that, Johnny, you're going the way of what Drew Galloway did when he was here, and he was world champion, and Drew wanted to be that fighting champion and fight every night of the week, and ultimately that cost him. So many people are feeling that you might be wearing yourself a little thin. We open with you. What do you say to that?
Either you're a fighting champion or you're not a fighting champion. And got a lot of respect for Drew Galloway. Him and I have a lot of things in common and also a lot of things that aren't the same. So if what he wanted to do was be a fighting champion and it didn't work out for him, that doesn't mean it's not going to work out for me. And I'm going to stand by what I said the night after I won the Impact World Championship. This business is what we make it. And to me, defending the Impact Championship on Impact and showing up every week is what a champion should do, and it's what I'm going to continue to do.
So with that being said, I think that's a very candid, great answer. You're facing kind of someone that you know, but to Impact, really, I mean, unless you're studying sort of an unknown in Killer Kross, and this dude's just been dangerous. He's been mowing down people. Kross, if you follow yourself on, obviously, if everyone follows you on social media, they can see how hard you train, how different you are. What's the title mean to you?
How would you like me to answer that, Josh?
However you'd like.
Let's talk about actually how John knows me. Let's talk about that, because it's funny. The very first time anybody ever even saw John and I on television, he pretended like he didn't. And it's really funny because the way I see it, and pardon my biased perspective of things, in my opinion, John would not even be in Impact Wrestling right now if it wasn't for our history in Mexico, which I'm not supposed to talk about. You see, John was an attraction to Impact Wrestling because I was protecting him from an entire roster of people that wanted to lynch him in Mexico. He went to Impact with something very special, while I stayed in Mexico to rot. And every single thing that's happened in Impact Wrestling, in my opinion, has kind of been John's fault, because what nobody wants to mention is I was kind of a referral from John. But when I got there and I conducted myself in a manner, in my opinion, that should not be such of a shock to John, he pretended he didn't know me because he didn't want heat by proximity. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay. Well, let me first of all go back to Mexico. I've gone on the record tons of times and said Killer Kross is one of the superstars of the future. I see the world in him. I still do. I saw it then. I see it now. I left Mexico and forced him to stay in Mexico to rot. Bro, do you not have autonomy? You could buy a plane ticket and fly home. You could
I like carne asada
for a ticket. You could just leave. not like I forced you to stay. And you're adults. You make your own decisions. I decided to leave to go to Impact because I achieved everything that I could achieve at AAA. And yes, we worked together, and I wanted to work with you back then because I saw the world in you, and I still do. Your viewpoint is a little jilted. The way that you see things is a little delusional, but that's beside the point. Your in-ring ability is why we work together in Mexico, and that's going to become a problem for both of us tomorrow night because it's going to be tested. And if anyone knows you in the ring, it's me. If anyone's ready for you in the ring and ready for the unpredictable crap that you're going to pull, it's me.
You really think you're going to win, John?
Well, I can give you two answers to that. First, the cliche champion answer. Killer Kross and Johnny Impact. We wrestled the true winners, the fans of the Impact Zone. But I think that's probably what people would expect. So I'll give you the honest answer. Do I really think I'm going to win? I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to win. It doesn't really matter.
You see, that's why I respect you. That's why I respect you, because you're telling the truth. You're telling the truth. But you know what? I'm used to you telling me the truth because you've always told me the truth. What I don't like is when you lie to everybody else. Because me, John, the way I've always seen you, you're Superman. You are above everybody else in this business. And I told you this before. You can do things that nobody else can do. But you walk around at Impact and you walk around in public like Clark Kent. And it makes me sick to my stomach. I just want you to be the best version of yourself. But the way I see it, John, is I need to put your back up against the wall. Because your back was up against the wall in Mexico. That was the John I knew. This John, I don't know who this guy is.
This John is the Impact World Champion. And you don't get that without being the best version of yourself.
We'll find out. We'll find out which version you are in the final hour. I think I know.
So push. I mean, come at me, bro. Push. Like all the things you're talking about, all that fire, all that piss and vinegar, all the ambition. The biggest problem that you have is you create these weird narratives in a very scary and similar way to the leader of this country, creating fake news and ignoring facts and assuming that everything is the way that you think it is, the way that it fits into your delusional narrative. And in your delusional narrative, you're the best. You're the champion. You deserve everything. But the reality is you don't. You don't deserve the world championship unless you can beat me tomorrow night.
I will.
Well, guys, I think the stage is certainly set for a very interesting Impact tomorrow night. Johnny faces one of the most sadistic, studious wrestlers on the Impact roster. Killer Kross, you got a shot at the gold. So with that, we will open it up for some media questions. Media *6 to get in queue. We ask you identify yourself and your outlet, and please limit it to one question and one question alone.
Q&A session has started. To ask your question, please press *6.
Hi, it's Gary from Sportskeeda. My question for Killer Kross. So you've called yourself the insurance policy before when you helped Austin Aries retain the title. Do you have any insurance policies of your own going into this match?
First of all, I've never called myself an insurance policy. That's a name that's been given to me by multiple people. Actually, I believe John was one of the first people who gave me that name. But I digress. We don't need to beat a dead horse with this. I don't need insurance, period, for final hour, okay? I hope he signed the waiver twice, and I hope somebody has 911 on speed dial. Bring a neck brace.
Johnny, any reply to that?
Yeah, sure. It's just kind of silly to walk around without insurance. I mean, that's not recommended by anybody. Anybody who's driven a car or gotten into a pro wrestling ring. But I guess that's not taking those comments very seriously. The title of insurance policy to me doesn't really describe what Killer Kross is. He's much more than that. He's his own entity. Whether or not he's an insurance policy or he has insurance, I don't know. But honestly, it's something that I wouldn't put past him. I know that Killer Kross takes a lot of pride in handling his own business. But knowing him the way that I know him and knowing how much he wants to prove a point, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if anybody shows up.
Hi, this is Joe Torres from Contralona, Puerto Rico. My question is for Johnny Impact. Basically, you have done it all in the pro wrestling business. You're being an actor right now. You're being part of Survivor. What's left for Johnny Impact to show us, in the business?
I guess you could say this is another cliche of wrestling. Although cliches are based on truth. You're only as good as your last match. Every time I get out there, I have that thought in my head, you're only as good as your last match. The last match I had an Impact was against Phoenix, and it was one of the best matches I've had in my career, something I'm really proud of. Tomorrow night, it's going to be Killer Kross versus Johnny Impact. And there is, again, my reputation on the line. What's left for me? Elevating my game personally, keeping the Impact Championship, and proving every single night after every single match that I deserve to be the Impact World Champion.
Hello, this is Miosh from the German site wrestling-infos.de. I have a question for Killer Kross. You have mentioned already that you have some bitterness towards Johnny Impact as you had some issues with him in Mexico. My question to you is more, you are showing some viciousness, which is quite fascinating, so to say. Have you always been more attracted to vicious fighting or shoot fighting, or has this developed over the time?
Oh, this isn't badminton. This is professional wrestling. This is the oldest story in the world, light versus dark. This is conflict. So it's me or him, and that's all there is to it. People put way too much of their conscience into this. And people are tuning in to watch violence. That's the way I see this. Violence equals ratings. I'm not going to beat around the bush. When it's time to be the bad guy, I'm all the way in. All the way. Otherwise, you're just wandering prey. That's not me. I'm going to do what needs to be done.
Well, thank you very much.
Johnny, we're going to take a question directed at you from Peter Gallant. He would like to know, how does your experience equip you to face a scary opponent such as Killer Kross?
Well, this will be good.
A scary opponent such as Killer Kross, that's an understatement. If experience is worth anything, if experience does anything or means anything for people in this business, it specifically gives me an advantage in a situation like this. And I'm a guy who's wrestled Rey Mysterio, John Cena, The Undertaker, Kane, Eli Drake, Moose, Eddie Edwards, Macias, Pentagon, Phoenix, all these people from all over the world. I wouldn't say there's anybody like Killer Kross specifically. But in all those arenas and all those matches, all that blood, sweat, and tanner, there's almost no circumstances that I haven't been in and had to fight my way out of. Sometimes I've won and sometimes I've lost. But one thing that I've never had happen to me is I've never been beaten mentally. I've never given up. And no matter what happens tomorrow night, there's no way Killer Kross is going to beat me mentally. Sure, people's physical bodies can wear out, can break. But the experience that I have has made my mind strong enough so that no matter what he says or does, I'm not worried about the way I'm looking at things mentally.
Would expect anything less.
Hi, this is Nick Hausman from Wrestling Inc. Thanks so much, guys, for taking the time today. I'll start with, I just want to ask Killer Kross. Obviously, you've been closely aligned with Austin Aries here in recent months. What did you think about the way he approached his match with John Morrison, the way he carried himself into it, or Johnny Impact? And also, if Austin Aries does come back, do you see yourself realigning with him?
Whatever Austin did in that match clearly wasn't enough. Okay? And that's not a knock against Austin. It wasn't enough. That's what it is. People win, people lose. Well, I mean, what do you want me to say about it? He's not here. I have no idea where he is. We had a mission. We had a singular direction we were all supposed to be going in, and he could not stay the course. So that's all there is to it. That was yesterday. Today's today. That's where I'm focused. If he comes back, we'll see what happens.
And real quick, just while I'm here, John, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up that tonight on Survivor, you make it to the merge. How did that feel for you to get to that point in the game?
The merge, first of all, let me just reiterate what Kevin said. Company policies about Austin Aries is we're supposed to say very little and keep our Austin Aries answers very short. As far as Survivor tonight, the merge is the combination of everybody in the game, but the most exciting thing about it is there's this huge merge feast where everyone gets to pretty much pig out and eat as much as you can in one sitting after starving for pretty much 3 weeks, eating 200 to sometimes 300-400 calories a day of rice and those little fish that you can find in the ocean. So for me, the most exciting part about the merge was all that food. It's a big benchmark in the game too. It was cool to make it to the merge.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, so much. Best luck tomorrow at Final Hour.
Thank you.
Killer Kross, would you ever go on Survivor?
If John was there, I would.
Johnny, how do you think Killer Kross would do on Survivor?
Well, I guess you get voted out at Tribal Council, but I mean there would be a better than average chance that Killer Kross could annihilate everyone else before the first Tribal Council, and then maybe end up being the sole survivor. It'd be a very short season, though. Might only be half of an episode if they could stretch everyone out. Unless I was on the island, of course, and then it would end up being like a live-action version of the Running Man on an island, kind of like that.
I would make sure you don't miss him first night.
There's no way. Parkour, swimming, I could. Oh man, I would survive circles around you.
Not in the dark.
You're lucky that the Final Hour is taking place inside of a wrestling ring, because if it was on an island in Fiji, oh man, you wouldn't you'd know the first thing about catching a fish or lighting a fire, any of that stuff.
I know how to burn things.
I know how to put fire out.
I don't need to.
No, I know how to put fire out.
No, you're pissing me off right now, John.
You're not taking this seriously. Maybe I'm not taking this seriously.
Maybe we should go back to some wrestling as opposed to some Survivor talk.
Yeah, Ross, why are you talking about the Survivor?
What was that?
Hi, this is William with NDTW.com. This question is for both gentlemen. With each of you having different in-ring styles from one another, I'll have the both of you prepared for each other for your match at Final Hour.
I'll go first. I prepare for almost every match the same physically. Just up in my physical training regimen, and up until a day before the match, then tapering off, taking the day off before to let the body rest so I can go in at 100% physically. But mentally and strategically, knowing the type of things that Killer Kross does frequently in the ring, it's a mix of brawling, MMA, but also with like some sadistic type, I guess, prison fighting is the kind of thing that I would call it. I know that I'm going to have to protect myself at all times. And that shifts things a little bit. It means sometimes the best offense is a good defense. And this is going to be one of those cases because I don't want to make any mistakes early and get caught.
Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.com here. Both of you work with any number of talents on a weekly basis. I mean, Johnny, you on the Jericho Cruise worked with several Impact Wrestling stars against stars from another company as a part of Team Impact. If each one of you could pick who's maybe somebody that you work with outside of Impact that you'd like to see make their presence felt in Impact.
Go ahead, Kross.
Chris Jericho.
I'll reiterate those sentiments. I don't know if people remember one of the first times that Chris Jericho left Raw. The night that he left, he lost a match to John Morrison. And I've wrestled Chris dozens of times over my career. He's not called the GOAT for no reason. He's one of the most talented in and out of the ring performers ever. But man, I'd throw in a lot of those guys from the elite. You know who's an interesting person that doesn't frequently get talked about is the Hangman Adam Page. I was really impressed with what he did on the Jericho Cruise, and I feel like he's extremely underrated. I know he's got a lot of fans around the world, but as far as for me personally, the few times that I've seen Hangman in the ring, I've been impressed.
Would you want to see them as the elite or as the Super Mario characters that you had to face on the cruise?
I mean, let's be honest a little bit. The Super Mario characters were fun, but that's kind of only fun once a year.
Thank you.
We're going to go to a question here from Jimmy Garr, who would like to know, actually for both of you two, Johnny, perhaps you can answer this one first. With the Homecoming pay-per-view set for January 6th, 2019, what does it mean to you to go back and compete in the storied Asylum, which has such rich history in Impact history?
Wrestling is a business that is all about nostalgia. And for me, my nostalgia would be wrestling in the Great Western Forum because that was the building in LA that I watched wrestling with my dad when I was a kid. And to go back to the Asylum in Nashville with Impact feels like an honor because that is where it all started for Impact. And I'm looking forward to the excitement that those people, hopefully that have been fans of Impact from day one, are going to bring when we get to Nashville on January 6th.
Killer Kross, your thoughts about going to the asylum in Nashville?
It's going to be very fitting. We've got big plans for Impact. We've got big plans for this industry. And there's a storied history of that place. Might as well revisit. Seems like the appropriate time.
Hi, my question is for Johnny. Johnny, how do you feel being a pro wrestler helped you prepare for Survivor, and vice versa? How has Survivor helped you advance as a professional wrestler? And this is JP from the Irish Whip, exclusively on WrestlingNewsSource.com.
Good question, JP from the Irish Whip. Ultimately, Survivor, I believe, is a game of social politics. And as far as games of social politics, there's none, or not very many, that are more competitive in the world of professional wrestling. Because ultimately, everyone's competing to be the best brand ambassador, the best brand, the most entertaining, the best, so to speak, and the best in pro wrestling got a lot of very subjective answers. There's no one definitive thing that's a catch-all to explain how to be the best. If there was, everyone would be the best. With Survivor, it's a lot of politics and a lot of positivity. And sometimes being positive, I would say, when you're starving and freezing on an island, and also sometimes when you're looking for clean water in a smoky locker room backstage somewhere in Mexico City, or you're frustrated in a locker room of a TV show somewhere in New York, and maintaining that positive outlook is difficult. And I could go on and on about this specific topic for the entire press conference, but I'll just leave it at that one point. In my experience, the more positive you are with your interactions to other people, no matter what's bringing you down personally, the better everything is for the people that you're talking to, and ultimately for you. And that's one thing that I learned through pro wrestling.
Hi, this is Ian Terry from SE Scoops. At the top of the show, we learned a little bit more about the personal history between the two of you, and I'm wondering if it's that personal history which led to Kross's attack on Johnny in the backstage area a few weeks ago. A lot of that wasn't shown on television. I'm wondering if each of you could give your side of what happened there. Was it a confrontation that got physical, or was this an unprovoked attack?
I'll handle that there, Chance. Let me chime in here. So, to be completely frank with you, John zigged when he should have zagged. I was honestly going to get a cup of coffee. I happened to see him there. Excellent match with Phoenix. In my opinion, probably the match of the year. I decided to wrap a cable cord around his head. That's really all there was to it. He had it coming. He's had it coming for a long time. Okay, and in terms of our history, John and his wife now, Taya, were in Mexico, crushing the competition, taking over the industry. He typically always does everywhere he goes. This guy had nuclear heat, okay? Nuclear heat. He didn't have a single person he could go to here in Mexico because they couldn't find a way to beat him. That's the truth. That's the truth that no one will say. Nobody could find a way to beat him. He was on his own. And rather than calling all of his friends from WWE, rather than calling all of his friends from all over the world and organizing an army, which he could have, he called one guy, one single person who he knew could get the job done and make sure that when he went out to the ring, he could conduct his business and position himself to be number one without having to get stabbed in the back. He called me. And when he wasn't there, I provided protection for Taya too. I did my job. I thought there was something a little bit more other than just professionalism. Maybe I thought John and I were friends. But we're not. There's no point in even entertaining a silly notion like that. John doesn't even know what that is. I don't know what it is either. I know a side of John that nobody knows, okay? And believe me, I'm going to bring it out. You're going to see it. And I even saw a glimpse of it in that match. Johnny backstage calling Phoenix your family. We used to terrorize these people. We used to terrorize these people. And now the guy's your family. Everything's cool. I saw a little something in your eye that night when you were beating up Phoenix. You loved it. And you can deny it all you want. I know who you are. You're not going to fool me. You can fool them all you want, Clark. Okay? You loved it. And I'm going to show everybody that you loved it at Final Hour because I'm going to bring that out of you because that's the guy you should be. Go ahead. You can tell your version of the story.
My version isn't even that different. Things Kross just said about Mexico are true. We trained down there. I didn't have anyone to turn to. I was down there with my wife, Taya. Kevin, Ty, and I all had each other's backs. I did think we were friends. And the one thing that confuses me is Killer Kross has been undefeated since he's come to Impact. Never been pinned. 2 weeks ago, I make this statement about how I'm going to be a fighting champion. I'm going to give title shots to anyone I think deserves them. Somebody who's undefeated and unbeaten deserves a title shot. If you wanted a title shot, bro, you could have just asked me. I would have given you a title shot. But no, that wasn't enough. Because Killer Kross, in my opinion, regardless of what anyone says, likes theatrics, likes to make statements, likes to send messages. And those messages and those statements were obviously more important than whatever type of friendship or relationship we had. Because instead of just asking me for a title shot, in which the answer would have been yes, you sent a message. You choked me with a cable. You choked me out after I had a match, after I was already beat up, and you laid a calling card on me. The result is the same. But now, instead of a match between two friends for the Impact World Championship, we have a rivalry. I've got an issue with you personally, and you apparently have an issue with me.
You got that right, I do.
Hey guys, Ryan Bowman from thegorillaposition.com. Johnny, after starring and creating Boone the Bounty Hunter, you expressed an interest about producing some more films in the future. So I'm wondering if you were going to cast Killer Kross in one of your movies, what would be the perfect role for him?
Man, oof. The perfect role for Killer Kross. There's a book called The Demon. I don't know if anyone's read it. It's a book that came out maybe 20 years ago, and it's about a guy who does everything right and even becomes a successful stockbroker. But as the story goes, things aren't quite enough for this guy, and he starts committing small crimes, shoplifting, stealing cars, womanizing, and ultimately nothing's enough. Nothing satisfies this guy. And the story ends with this guy murdering the Pope and then killing himself when he realizes that even that isn't enough. That, in my opinion, is the path that Killer Kross is on, and it's scary.
Killer Kross, any feedback, any comments on that?
Yeah, he's really pissing me off. That's all I have to say about that.
I'm gonna look that up actually. I forget who wrote it. I'll give you the answer on the next question.
All right. Well, we're going to actually take a question here from Andre Corbell of WrestlingWithWrestling.com. Question is for Killer Kross. Where did all the malice come from?
In general, towards John?
Yes.
Yes to which? In general or towards John?
Well, let's do both. Certainly would like to hear towards John.
I have no malice towards John. And I know that he understands where I'm coming from, and I know that he doesn't agree with it. He's never agreed with it. But we found a common ground once upon a time. That time is long gone. It's dead. Okay, I'm not going to harp on it. But as I said before, I don't disillusion myself despite what John thinks about what this business is. This is the hurt business. Okay, this is the hurt business. This is not like a gray sort of situation to me. It's not even a black-white situation. It's all black.
Hi, this is Bill Pritchard from WrestleZone. I have a question for Johnny.
Hold on a second. Let me just, The Demon, 1976 by Hubert Selby Jr. It's something that legitimately I think would make a great movie. But sorry, continue, Bill.
Okay. So it was just announced that you're defending your title in Alaska next year for WrestlePro, and I just wanted your thoughts on that, and if there's anywhere else you'd like to see yourself taking the title and defending it.
Yeah, Danny Moss on 420 in Alaska. I'm really excited. It's the first time that I'm going to Alaska. I was never there with all my years at the Fed, and I'm really excited. As far as other places that I'd like to defend the Impact World Championship, sure, I guess Monaco would be a great place to defend it. Maybe Patagonia, like to defend it down there, and maybe even Kauai. Kauai would be a fun place. I'm just thinking of destinations. Maybe in Nassau, in at Atlantis, that resort, maybe the nice part of it, the Cove. That'd be a good place to defend the title.
Thank you.
Mike, this is William with NDPW.com again, gentlemen. My question is for Mr. Kross. You've been known by various monikers: the Tolman, the Herald of Doomsday, the White Rabbit, the Devil of Monterey, Rey de la Maldad. Is there a particular moniker that is the closest to defining who or what Killer Kross is?
Killer Kross is what the people see. Period. That's all that is. All of those monikers, I've never understood these people giving themselves nicknames. It's the most ridiculous thing on the planet to me. Even the name Killer, they came from the crowd.
Thank you.
You know what? I'd just like to point out that sometimes when you're on a really long car ride from town to town, say you're driving from Las Vegas to San Francisco, maybe Kross, instead of ruminating on a bunch of negativity, you could think of some fun rhyming nicknames for yourself, and instead of being upset, you could spread a little positivity, maybe smile a little bit.
I'm going to smile when I dive bomb you skull first into the canvas at final hour. I'm going to have a big smile on my face. I'm going to be all smiles that day, John, believe me. Believe me. When I'm at work, when I got my hands dirty, I'm all smiles. You're going to love it.
There we go. That negativity again. And ultimately, it leads to unsatisfied Kross. I feel like the path to change, so you say, the path to damnation, all roads lead to damnation, put you in a very one-track, negative place. And ultimately, as you said yourself, if this business is light versus dark, I think you're going to find out that light, that positivity, is a stronger force.
You're so full of shit.
Yes, we'll see.
Well, Killer Kross, we actually have a question that came in from Jeff Cabral. He would like to know, you train a lot of different fighting styles, but which style do you think helps you counter the high-flying that you'll encounter with Johnny Impact?
Judo. John is an excellent wrestler, so catch wrestling is obviously not going to be that much of an upper hand. He's been in the ring with some of the best professional wrestlers in the world. It's not like he hasn't already seen it before. He's been in the ring with some judoka people, but I'm going to shut him down. You know, earlier in this, people were asking how we were training, and I neglected to answer. I mean, there's no way. I mean, I could do mobility training for 2 or 3 weeks preparing for this match. I'm not going to catch up to what he's doing. It's all powerlifting, all judo. I'm going to shut him down because eventually he has to get near me. And when he does, he's going to pay for it.
Hi there, it's Gary Cassidy from Sportskeeda again. My question this time was for Johnny. So you've previously said that Killer Kross's philosophies are just ways of justifying his insatiable need to destroy others. Do you think he's going into this to win the title, or do you think he's going in it purely to destroy you? And if it's the latter, how do you combat that?
I think that mentality, that philosophy is intrinsically flawed. There's 2 different strategies. 1, destroying me. 2, winning the title. And I think you're right. I think everything that he said on this press conference has to do with driving my face through the canvas, ripping my spine out, laughing at my pain. But I haven't heard Killer Kross talk about strategically how he's going to win. That, in my opinion, is a mistake.
Hi, Ryan Bowman from thegorillaposition.com again. This question's for Killer Kross. You made leaps and bounds over the course of 2018, and you're drawing a lot of attention on the internet. Even though you're a really serious and focused guy, do you ever stop and step back and think about how big your future might be?
To answer that honestly, I have no time for that. I'm being dead honest with you. I got to focus on the task at hand. There's always more work to be done. There's always something to be done. I have to focus on what's right in front of me, and I believe that the future will take care of itself if I continue to do that.
Thank you. Went out in the flaw with that answer. Quote a late great Bruce Lee. You point at the moon. You look at your finger. You miss all that heavenly glory. And it seems like that might be kind of what Killer Kross just said. Focusing on what's next, focusing on what's now. Without ever taking time to visualize the distant future. Classic mistake. Mistakes are just racking up one after another.
You're really pissing me off. Did I mention that already?
Maybe I'm trying to piss you off.
Yeah,
maybe it's working.
Yeah, it is.
Well, guys, I can say this has certainly been one of the most interesting Press Pass podcasts we've ever had. Both you two are very focused on this match. I mean, almost scary how focused each of you is on this match. I think it's going to be a great one tomorrow night on Impact. I will give the challenger the floor first for a final thought.
Final thought, final hour. I mean, you can't actually be shocked that I did this. You can't be shocked that we're here. I mean, this is inevitable with the way that you and I both are. I mean, did you really think that I was just going to let you do what you always do and just infect this place? Every place you go, you win titles. Every place you go, you become the franchise player. It was like that in Mexico too. You know, I took a back seat for money, and I was fine with that at that time because all I really wanted to do was hurt people, and I still want to do that. Believe me, that's my MO. I think people need to be hurt in order to change. It doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen in one single moment, and that moment's coming for you, John. I promise you. This has more to do than just titles and wins. I'm going to make you the person that I believe you to truly be. And the only way that's going to happen is by harming you. And you know I can. You know I can hit harder than you. You know I hit harder than anybody in this business. People talking, oh, nothing ever hits you harder than life. I hit harder than life. And it's coming full clip right at you. So tuck your chin.
Well, champion, this certainly is a tough challenge, a one that you know very personally. Your thoughts, final thoughts heading into tomorrow night on Impact.
He's right. You go to Mexico, become the franchise player there. Lucha Underground, franchise player there. Win multiple titles with WWE. Win titles everywhere I go. That's not a coincidence. That's because I'm very good at what I do. As far as Killer Kross changing me, no. I don't believe that for a second, because I believe change comes from within. I could have a moment of reckoning, maybe, tomorrow. And yeah, I've seen Kross punch. He's got a haymaker. Yeah, and he might well catch me clean in the jaw. I might go down. But guess what? I'm going to get back up. And I got some educated feet, too. My feet went to college. Will I be changed by what happens tomorrow at final hour? Probably, yeah. But the difference between the way Killer Kross looks at things and the way that I look at things is, if I change, it's going to be my decision based on my preparations for the match, based on my experience. This change is a personal thing. I'm ready to get hit. I'm ready for him to try to hurt me. I'm ready for him to probably do things that I don't even expect. As far as tomorrow, with the final hour, I'm ready for whatever happens. And I think when Killer Kross hears me say that out loud, I'm ready for the pain. I'm ready for him to beat me up, to try to rip my spine out. I'm ready for that. And if it happens, I'm not scared. I think those sentiments scare him, because he's used to being the one that scares other people, that terrifies people, that makes people afraid. And I'm not afraid of getting my ass whooped. I've been getting my ass whooped in this business for 16 years. He can whoop my ass tomorrow night. But there's no way in hell he's leaving with the World Championship.
Alrighty, champ. I appreciate it, Johnny. And Killer Kross, a very insightful hour with you. I'm very appreciative for your time as well. Best of luck to both of you tomorrow night, and we'll see everybody in Las Vegas. 3 days of TV tapings starting Sunday night, Monday, and Tuesday at Sam's Town in Las Vegas. Johnny, Killer Kross, thank you both very much. Media, we will talk to you next week. Actually, we will not have anything next week. We'll be back the following week with another Impact Wrestling Press Pass podcast.
Q&A session is over.
I think I might found a way.
Goodbye.
This is the Wrestling Epicenter. For over 15 years, we've brought you the top names in professional wrestling for exclusive interviews. Everybody you see here has been interviewed by our site. But we're more than just interviews. So be sure and check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for news, results, information, and of course our store. WrestlingEpicenter.com, your #1 source for wrestling information.